Being a Canadian hockey guy, I'm not a huge fan of the Russians, rightly or wrongly, but I'll give credit where credit is due. Russia and the Soviets did give us three wonderful things: Smirnoff vodka, Anna Kournikova, meow, and Tetris. This game is an absolute classic, and the first version I ever played on a home console was courtesy of Tengen on my Nintendo Entertainment System. Like I said, the game is great. The first thing you notice is the music, and even 25 years later, the music is as original as any you'll ever hear in a video game. It definitely has that Russian vibe to it and is unmistakable by gamers. The game itself is solid. The lines are nicely colorful, and each block is represented by its own color and is easily identifiable. The controls are fluid and the blocks drop smoothly into position. Each line scored is identified by single, double, triple, or even the ever so satisfying Tetris. Whenever you'd complete a level, the game would pause and calculate your score, and you'd get these little Russian dancers come out and give you a bit of an intermission show. After the dance and the quick breather, it's back to action. It's just great. The game is a great one-player puzzler, but also comes with the ability to add a second player, or even better, competing against the computer. The side-by-side is okay, but unless you give yourself a handicap, it's relatively easy to crank up your score against them. The direct competition is where it's at. You compete for scores and lines in the same space, and this is where you can really have some fun and be a dick. You set it up all nice for a line, the computer thinks he's gonna score, and then BAM! Suck it, bitch! Ha! It's actually a lot of fun, but also challenging because you can really screw yourself while trying to stick it to the CPU. Tengen's version of Tetris is awesome on so many levels, and the replay value is through the roof. You can imagine my surprise, however, when I went to my cousin's house one weekend and she suggested playing Tetris, and this is what I got.
You don't need a Tetris shot.
Tetris.
Tetris size.
Square, rectangle, trapezoid, tetrazoid. Nintendo introduces Tetris.
Put a piece here, put a piece there. Use your thumbs, use your eyes.
Find yourself Tetris size. Now you're playing with power.
This was not the Tetris that I had played before. This was different. It wasn't bad, but it just seemed off. First of all, I noticed it didn't seem to be as smooth as the Tengen version. It wasn't bad, just different. And when I got lines, they didn't tell me what I got, but dissolved away. Again, not a big deal, it's just different. The one thing about this game that I enjoyed was its seamless transition from level to level. Sure, I didn't get the show and the dancers to celebrate the next level of achievement, but there's something weirdly satisfying about seeing those blocks change color and speed up as I moved up the Tetris ladder. There's no competition or side-by-side against the computer in this one, but there aren't too many complaints. The one thing I don't like is that if I've got a piece on the wall, I can't quite, It's frustrating that I can't switch the position without moving it off the wall. It's not a huge deal, but in a pinch, when it's tight, it's a pain in the ass. Still, this version of Tetris is great in its own right. It's similar, yet different from the Tengen version, but well worth any addition to your collection. Then, there's this Tetris. I call this abomination, What the Fuck Tetris. This game and this version sucks. Why does it suck? I'll tell you why. First of all, I don't even understand why they made this version. It looks like they lost a few lines of code, splashed in some different colors, slapped it in a box, and called it Tetris. Bullshit. Second of all, the control is ass backwards. The first time you play this game, you'll be immediately pissed off. That's because if you've played either of the previous two versions of Tetris before this, you'll be angry. The level starts up and your first instinct is to push a button and reposition the piece. Oh, not in What the Fuck Tetris. You push a button and it launches you, boom, right to the bottom. It's completely backwards. In order to move the puzzle piece, you use the D-pad. Why would they switch it around like that? It's not a different challenge, it's just stupid. The third thing that is painful about this game is the fact that in the previous two versions of Tetris, when you wanted to force a piece down and into position, all you had to do was push down on the D-pad and the piece would speed up and slide into place and you had control. In this version, they screw you. You have to be perfectly lined up with the piece or else you screw up. And if you do want to move a piece to the bottom and then move it over at the last second, you have to wait. And wait, and friggin' wait, until it finally reaches the bottom, and then move it over. If you had never played another version of Tetris, this game wouldn't be as frustrating, but because most people have, this game has no redeeming qualities and isn't worth playing at all unless you like getting pissed off. Now, right near the end of the NES library, Nintendo released Tetris 2. I wondered how they would make a sequel to such a great game, but this game, I can't even begin to explain what a challenge it is. Tetris 2 is like a hybrid between Tetris and Dr. Mario. The goal is to line up the pieces so that they match 3 colored blocks in a row. When they line up, they disappear, like Dr. Mario. I played this for about 25 minutes and I still couldn't get any better. It's not easy, and for those who like a challenge, it's a great game to play. Overall, Tetris has been part of pop culture since it made its debut over 25 years ago, and to this day is one of the most popular titles amongst gamers. The 2 versions most are familiar with are classics, while the third, yeah, I'm not getting into that again. If you have a collection of games, then Tetris has to be a part of it. The gameplay is great, the replay value is top-notch, and gives us all that warm, fuzzy Russian feeling that we all lack.